Well, howdy there, Internet students. It's Mr. Hermanson again. Today we're going to be doing lesson 7.3a, part 2. Basically, we're going to be learning how to find the solutions to a system of equations by graphing. And lucky for you, the calculators we use in 8th grade can do the graphing for you. But we're going to go over a few things so you can start to understand what we're doing. So let's start here with this. Here's our system of equations. And we want to know what the common solution is to both of those. So we're going to start by graphing. And the way we're going to graph is we're going to use, these are both written in slope-intercept form. So we know that the last number, 2 and the 4, is the y-intercept. So I'm going to start at 4 for the top equation. And then the slope is 2 because that's the number in front of x. So that means 2 over 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2. Said that wrong. Up 2 over 1. So that line looks like this. All right. So that line actually represents all of the solutions to the top equations. Every one of them. Because notice that now that I put the arrows on, it continues forever. And the second equation, let me do that in a different color. The y-intercept is 2, and the slope, the number in front of the x, is actually 1, which means I'm going to go up 1 over 1, 1 over 1. So that line looks like this. Now, I'm going to have you kind of guess here, think about it as I do this. So this blue line represents all of the solutions to the bottom of equations in that system, all of them. Now we want the common solution. So where is that common solution? I hope you're guessing it's right here where the 2 cross. So it's the point -2, 0. So that's my answer to this question. And I know it's the common solution because it's the one point on both those lines that both equations have in common. Now, just to make sure that's true, what we'll do is check. So we think y is 0. So I'm going to put 0 over here where the y is. And I'm going to put -2 where the x is. And I'm just going to do the math. And yeah, we get 0 equals 0. So that one works. And then the other one, put 0 where the y is, put -2 where the x is. -2 plus 2 is 0. That one works also. So the solution is -2, 0. So basically, we're just trying to figure out where the lines cross. If we can figure that out, we got the common solution. Okay? So what I'd like you to do here is pause and then go ahead and write the equations you think are represented by this and graph those equations and see if you can figure out where they cross. So if you wrote your equations right and you graphed them right, you should see that they cross at the point 570. Now what that tells you is if you are charged for 5 months, you're going to pay exactly the same $70 for both of them. So if you want the cheaper rate and you know you're going to go less than 5 months, then that would be this red line here, which is where you pay a little bit more but less up front. And if you are going to have this for over 5 months, then you want to go with the purple line, which is this one, because that's cheaper in the long run. All right. Well, you guys, sometimes when you have a system of equations, you don't get 2 lines that cross. And that means something different. Okay? So which shows the solution to these 2 equations? So we have to figure out. So we have y-intercepts of -3 and 5. So that could be any of them, right? And the slope for both of them is -1. And the lines where it's showing they both have a slope of -1 is this one. And notice that they do not cross there. So they're parallel. And we need them to cross to have a solution, so we're going to say there's no solution. Okay, so I'm going to help you with this one, get you started. It's a lot easier to graph. Well, actually, it's not that much more difficult. What I would do on this top equation is I would find the intercepts, if you remember that. So if I put in 0 for x here, then that makes this term kind of cancel out because it's 0. And then I would do 12 divided by -3, which is -4 for y. So that's 1 point on that line. And then to get the other point, I would put in 0 for y. And that would make this part 0. So then I would have to do 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So 6, 0 is the other point. That's way out here. And there's that line. Okay. Now this other equation, it's really close to slope-intercept form. I'm just going to divide everything by 6. And because it's a lot easier to graph when it's in slope-intercept form, I'm going to simplify that fraction 4/6 to 2/3. And 24 divided by 6 is 4. So the y-intercept is -4. Let me use a different color here. Start there. And the slope is 2/3, which means up 2 over 3. And notice we're landing right on the same line. I actually think these are the same equations. When that happens, that means that every solution on the red line is also a solution on the blue line, so there's an infinite number of solutions. All right, so now it's time for you to try one. See what the solution is, or if it's an infinite number of solutions or no solutions by graphing. So I hope you figured that one out. All right, now here's what we're going to do. You're going to have to get your graphing calculator ready because I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can use your graphing calculator to find that common solution. One way is by using a table, which is this first part here. And the second part we're going to do is using a graph. All right. And I think I'm going to end the video right here and just make a separate video for this. So that you'll have something you can go back to if you forget how to graph it. All right. Now remember, math is everywhere. You might as well get used to it.